these cameras that I proclaim is an issue? Well, even though it does say 2K on the box and on the adverts and whatnot, while it is technically 2K, it's technically 1080 for each camera. So you're basically combining two different cameras to get your 2K. Many of you may not see that as being an issue. However, there is a little bit of an issue here. You are basically looking at two lenses two fisheye lenses on the camera, taking a spherical image. Again, whenever you're previewing it, right after stitching in the software, the spherical video does not look bad. Problem actually comes into play whenever you go to edit or upload, both of which take that spherical image, or spherical video in this case, and flattens it into an equirectangular video. Well, why is that an issue? Well, because you're actually shooting at only 2K combined, you're losing a lot of resolution, a lot of detail, and you end up getting a video that is just not sharp. It's extremely blurry. There's a lot of digital artifacts in the video, and it is nowhere even close to being okay for any kind of, well, as far as I'm concerned, even amateur work. If you're just wanting to play around with something, that's fine, hey, to each their own. However, if you're trying to do some kind of somewhat prosumer type work, or you're just starting out, that causes a big issue. And very quickly you see that $200 that you say, only $200 for the camera. It's a great deal. Well, when you realize that your videos are not that great, it ends up not being a great deal after all. So what is the solution here? Unfortunately, the solution is very expensive. Now, back in the old days, we used to, I guess, fool the human eye. For lack of a better term, back in the day, several years ago, when we started first playing with the idea of 360 imaging, it was basically taking out the digital SLR, putting a nice, crisp, very expensive fisheye lens on the front of it, attaching the camera to a panoramic head, and then essentially being able to shoot that, taking it into stitching software, stitching it together, and at the very end you have a decent result. However, that was good for photos. It wasn't good for video. So what does it really look like you're going to have to do in order to get really good video, especially for any kind of quote-unquote pro type of work? Unfortunately, about $5,000. And when I say unfortunately about $5,000, that's not an exaggeration. GoPro just released, is in the process of releasing the Omni, which is essentially 6 GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition cameras inside of a cubed array, all of which are kicking out 8K. So you're looking at 8K times 6 cameras. Lots of information to stitch together. But like I said, the problem is you're paying for all 6 of those cameras, plus the rig, plus the containment system, or the little enclosure, the case that comes with it, the color stitching software. There's other stitching software included in that as well, plus the rig, if I didn't mention that already, plus the ability to use it remotely, and there's a couple other things included in that package. If you've ever seen the 360-degree music video that's out there, I'll either link it or play a little clip in the video now. That was actually done with a professional rig, with professional money. So, is this a good idea to buy one of these since they're only $200? Well, if you're doing any CG work, maybe you're doing, animations, you want environment files, or you want HDRIs where you can control your lighting and do all that from an image, go for it. Maybe you're trying to sell your house and you want to give, the potential buyer a little bit more. Well, go in each room, set this little camera up on a tripod, leave the room, use the phone, take a 360 photo. I think it turned out rather well. Other than that, though, if you're trying to work with video, I'm going to tell you right now, it's just not worth it. But that's about all I have. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or any tips or tricks that I've, somehow missed in the forums, looking at everybody arguing and complaining and bitching about these little cameras, by all means, drop them in the comment box below. If this was informative, a decent video that, saved you some money, or made you realize that you're gonna have to spend quite a bit more, at least, give it a thumbs up, like it. Saved you some headache later on, possibly. Do not forget to share and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Check out the, there's going to be a link also, both on screen and in the description box below. It's going to have some reference video and also reference photos from the LG 360 cam. Check those out. That way you have a really good idea of what you're going to get.